Hello and welcome everybody to my new series where I explore the bush trips in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Starting here with the first one that I have recorded, the Northeast Megapolis Bush Trip. This will be a series that I am planning to continue with several different bush trips, in which I will be dividing every leg of a bush trip into an individual video. One of the things I'm trying out with these bush trips is reading off facts about the different locations that we are going to. During this first series, I'm just reading the facts as I'm going. There's no pre-preparation, so I may be a little bit all over the place when reading those facts. Just bear that in mind. In future videos, the research will be improved. This very first bush trip was originally recorded on my Twitch channel. So two things, you might see me talking to some chatters in the video, just don't mind that, as well as the quality of the videos, more like a stream kind of quality, so just pre-warning you there. I have since got a capture card, so future bush trips will have a much better quality. But anyways, that's enough intro for this video. Welcome to the Northeast Megapolis Bush Trip. I'll read you the description here. The Northeast Megapolis with more than 50 million residents is the most populous metropolitan region in the United States, also called the Boston-Washington Corridor or just Boswash. This mega region is composed of Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and some of the most renowned and influential cities, not just in the United States, but in all of history. I mean, it's a little biased, but the journey visits the most iconic and most beautiful of this region. What? The journey visits the most iconic and beautiful of this region. What? Okay, don't even understand that sentence. It ties together the famous with the less traveled, the grand with the subdued, granted an experience that mirrors the diversity of the cities and surrounding areas that compose this region so incredible. Beginning in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the flight heads south visiting Boston, coastal destinations including Cape Cod, Long Island, New York City, Philadelphia. They literally said that already. This description is really weird. So the total flight length of the entire bush trip is 581 nautical miles. It says it'll take about 3 hours and 37 minutes estimated, which is different from what I wrote down, but whatever. It has about 9 legs. Each, for the most part, there's only one leg that's more than like 20 minutes, which is kind of interesting to me. All right, so we'll start with leg number 1, which is from Portsmouth International to Logan International in Boston. Our first destination in that will be Eel Pond. Interesting. At 171 degrees, distance 627 nautical miles. Hopefully it will actually let me use the nav mode, because I much prefer using that on these bush trips. Eel Pond. So, after lifting off from Portsmouth International Airport, pass over Interstate 95 and then cross over the Great Bog, sighting Eel Pond on the Atlantic's Gulf of Maine coast. Excuse me. And then we'll go to Hampton, the city of Hampton, which is, I believe, on Long Island. That doesn't make sense. We'll see. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I'll probably learn more information about some of these locations on the computer here. Alright, so we want a heading of 171. I like getting this all set up before we take off, just to have. I think nav mode's going to work, but we're going to set it up anyways, just in case. 171. My mouse sensitivity is a little whack right now. Man, if I don't plug in my mouse enough on my computer, then it starts to get such high sensitivity, which is a pain in the butt. We'll do FLC mode, and I want to get to altitude of, let's just say 4,200 for now. That's a little bit high up anyways, but if we need to, like, you know, level off earlier, then we will. FLC mode's on. This is 87, but I like to do 90 for the flight level climb. I have a little bit extra speed just in case. The flaps should be down. It looks like they are, I think. They usually are for the takeoff here. And yeah, we'll get going in a second once I have everything perfect and good to go. What are you doing getting ahead? Just gonna move my stuff here so I can see better. There we go. All right. Rotation's at 75 with this plane, if I remember correctly. 76. 76. That does make a difference. This plane's not even centered on the runway. I should show. And we have, well, I almost said liftoff, but we're still on the runway. $75, 76, so we rotate and lift off. Gear up. Nice and early on this plane. It doesn't look like we actually had flaps down because I changed them and nothing happened, so I'm not sure, to be honest, if we had flaps down or not. Let's turn off the landing lights. We don't need that anymore. We're not landing right now, not for another 25 minutes or so. And then as soon as we like turn right slightly here, I'm just gonna immediately put it into autopilot since I don't need to custom fly or hand fly this thing. All right, so we got autopilot on. I'm gonna turn on nav mode now. Hopefully that works. FLC is working, nav mode is working. We're golden. We should be at the first location in like a couple minutes, honestly. In fact, let me take a look ahead. We'll probably level off at 3,000 feet instead. That's what I'll do. Not 2,000. Ah, crap, I already fucked that up. That's not what I meant. There we go. FLC of 105. That's is a little fast. Let's decrease that. Everything feels so, 97's fine, whatever. Everything feels so far away in this plane on the cockpit, like, I feel like I'm squinting to look at everything. Could be the sunlight in my eyes right now. That probably doesn't help. Also, I hope my audio levels are all right and the in-game audio isn't too loud in the background. Listen to Spotify. But I wish I could, I should link my fucking account to Spotify. Alright, we are reaching our cruising altitude here, so I'll reduce the throttle to about 90%. Here is this pond that they're mentioning up here. We can't really see too much from here. We're a little high up. But I don't want to fly too low in this plane, because I don't know where the buildings are. But here's the eel pond, which isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but it looks kind of cool. Maybe it is exciting for you, I don't know. After lifting from the Great Bog. So this is the Gulf of Maine coast. That's kind of cool. And this must be the Great Bog or something here. Along with the eel pond, which I'm assuming eels literally go in. Oh. Alright. Okay, my mouse stopped working, which means I probably have to restart the game. Alright, so I'll be right back. So it actually recognized that I already went here. Well, that's terribly convenient. Very convenient. It's too bad I can't see anything. Okay, we're at 2,000 altitude. I'm going to reduce the speed so we're not over-speeding here, because I actually can overheat the engine in this mode. Nav mode is not on, I don't think, but it is now. Now nav mode's on, so we should be following that. I'll leave altitude hold on for now, so it doesn't increase in altitude, because I find that if you don't use altitude hold, your plane kind of just goes up and down randomly. Obviously, I could be doing something wrong, but... let's see. I'm gonna find out some information about Hampton here. Hampton, what is this, Massachusetts? What the fuck? Hampton, Massachusetts. East Hampton is what we're in. East Hampton, Massachusetts is a city in Hampshire County. Wow, look at the, lots of wealth in this area, if I were to guess. Look at this nice-looking university area. Ooh, that's gotta be custom, like, that's gotta be photogrammetry from how nice it looks. Look how nice the beach looks. This looks beautiful. We're flying over the town of Hampton, which I don't know which... Hampton where? Oh, so this is the town I'm flying over. This town was settled in 1664 and was originally part of Northampton. Cool. The community mainly grew around this river here, is what it's saying. Wow, this area is beautiful. So we're on to POI number 3 now. We're headed up to Plum Island Point. This area here of Hampton is just a nice village that was important to early settlement of the United States. I'm sure there's a lot of nice locations down there. From here, the buildings don't even look 3D, because I don't think they are. That's weird. All right, now we're headed off to Plum Island Point. Going a little too fast still. We're going to reduce our speed to about 80, or our throttle. I guess a cruising altitude of 2,200 works. That's the one that they gave me. I'll trust it. What does it say about Plum Island? Continue following the coastline as your journey enters Massachusetts. So I wasn't even quite in Massachusetts yet. Where was I? I guess maybe, I don't know what town I was looking at. Enjoying the sights of the Atlantic Ocean, Hampton Harbor, and Blackwater River en route to Plum Island Point, located where the Merrimack River meets the sea, which is a very important river, I know that, from history class. And we're about to go right over this point here, the Plum Island Point. Another area where a lot of rich, wealthy college town type folks seem to live. Looks like we're turning slightly on a heading of 172 to Crane Beach. For this beginning leg of this trip, it looks like we're mostly just following the coast, which doesn't surprise me. Pilot heat off. I don't think I need pilot heat on anyways. Because last time I checked, they always have it at like a really nice warm temperature for these bush trips. So you don't have to deal with de-icing and all that jazz. All right, now we're headed to Crane Beach, which I'll look up some information about that, I guess. Crane Beach. This next location of Crane Beach here, let me zoom out on this map so I can see a little better as to where the actual point is. Okay, see it there. So Crane Beach is a 1,234 acre, 4.99 square kilometer conservation and recreation property located in Ipswich, Massachusetts, which I'm sure I'm mispronouncing, immediately north of Cape Ann, which I think is one of the places we're actually going to. It consists of a 4-mile-long, 6-kilometer sandy beachfront, dunes, and a maritime pitch pine forest. Just a type of forest that only appears in the Maritimes, I'm assuming. 5.5 miles of hiking trails through the dunes and forests are accessible from the beachfront. The Crane Beach is open year-round, and it's free to is actually free to residents of the town, Ipswich. And but it's $40 if you want to go to the beach and you're out of town. So that's kind of interesting. It's free for you if you're in town, if you live in the town. But if you're out of town, you got to pay up, buddy. Crane Beach was established in 1945 as a gift from Richard T. Crane Jr. and his family, along with Castle Hill and the Crane Wildlife Refuge. So this conservation area that we're coming up to here was a gift to the town itself from Mr. Richard T. Crane Jr., son of Richard T. Crane, which I guess that makes sense. The 1968 movie, The Thomas Crown Affair, starring Steve McQueen, features a scene where McQueen's character drives a dune buggy across this beach. That's kind of cool. The beach scenes of 2019's version of The Little Woman was also filmed on this beach. So, this beach is very popular for tourism, that's for sure, and even been used for a few movies, which is kind of cool. Every single year on June 16th, the residents of the town, mostly students, like to start at the beach and take a run to town hall. That's a yearly tradition, apparently. Let's see this area. Again, I think this is photogrammetry because this area is really detailed. So I guess this is the beach with the dunes on them. You can't really see the dunes from up here. They might not even be in the game for all I know. But it does look absolutely beautiful. There's the town of Ipswich in the background. That's crazy. So if you go on a run, the town's all the way over here. That's a few miles, man. That's crazy. That's dedication, dog. So the next location is the Rockport. Excuse me. Which does it say about that on here? Cross Annisquam Harbor to reach Cape Ann and the town of Rockport, which lies on the northeast quadrant of Sandy Bay. So this entire bay here must be Sandy Bay. And then the Crane Point, or whatever it's called, is there. We're actually going to make an immediate right towards Gloucester, or towards Rockport. Or no, towards Gloucester, my bad. We're at Rockport right now, which it looks like is just another area for, like, summer homes, from what I can tell. Wow, this reminds me of Muskoka. This really reminds me of Muskoka. All right, we're about to make a sudden turn at 228 degrees now, just to make sure that's correct. It's only 2.99 nautical miles to our next POI here, so I'll get information about that immediately. Gloucester, I don't know how to pronounce that. Cross over Cape Pond to reach Gloucester. On Cape Ann's Gloucester maybe? Gloucester Harbor? I'm just going to say Gloucester. That makes most sense. The Gloucester Harbor is where we're headed towards next, near Gloucester, which is this town. So this would be the Gloucester Harbor, and that's the town of Gloucester. Not too much to say there about Gloucester. Let's see. Any information about Gloucester? No, not in Ontario. Not really. Gloucester, Massachusetts. Wow, it looks... Again, I really like how different everything looks compared to Norway out here. The roads look really cool. They're all, like, yellow and, like, worn in. You got two opposite opposing baseball fields here. Ooh, a nice little college football stadium out here too with the college itself. That's pretty cool. Wow, this town is beautiful. It really looks accurate to the game too. It's kind of cool. So Gloucester is a coastal city on Cape Ann in Massachusetts. Its fishing heritage is reflected in its harbor side fisherman's memorial with a statue of names of those who were lost at sea. So if we were lucky, I could figure out where that statue is and look at it, but I do not know where to look. I don't think it's really that visible from up here. East Cape Ann Museum has work by 1800s. There's a museum in there called Cape Ann Museum, which has work by 1800s maritime artist Fleets. What? Oh, Feats Henry Lane. East, the sands of Good Harbor Beach extend to Salt Island at a low tide. Interesting. Cool. So now we're headed to Marblehead. That would be our next location. Marblehead. Set a course to the southeast, skirting the coast by Manchester by the Sea. That's a hard thing to say. And then passing between Misery Island and Bakes Island on the outer reaches of Salem Sound to reach Marblehead, which lies at the northern end of a small peninsula in Massachusetts Bay. The skyline of Boston, the northern anchor of the Northeast Megapolis, looms even larger and larger, well, ever larger and clearer, which with each mile traveled. I find this a little hard to read because it's white on a gray background. That's always hard to read. So we're going to Marblehead, and we're going to get our first views of the Boston skyline. It says, oh yeah, I can see it now. We can see Boston in the distance. The airport is literally right on the water from what I remember. I've landed at it a couple of times in this game. All right, let me see if I can find anything about Marblehead real quick before we get there. Marblehead, Massachusetts. Wow, this looks beautiful. It's so much more flat than our previous bush trip, that's for sure. Marblehead is a coastal New England town in Essex County, Massachusetts, along the North Shore, which is where Boston is too. Its population is 20,441. Attached to the town is a near island known as Marblehead Neck. That's kind of cool. That must be this island here. So this is the Marblehead right here. So Marblehead is home to the Marblehead Light, Fort Sewell, Little Harbor, and many wildlife sanctuaries, as it turns out. This town has roots with commercial fishing and yachting. Marblehead was a major shipping yard, and is often referred to as the birthplace of the American Navy, actually. A title sometimes disputed with nearby Beverly. That's kind of cool. So the American Navy started actually in this area of the country. There's been 3 U.S. Navy battleships, or just ships in general, named after Marblehead. So that's kind of cool. I'm actually going to start descending, or pick a descending, an altitude to descend to. We'll go to, whoops. 1800 is usually a good one. Again, though, I don't know what runway we're supposed to be landing at. But we'll see, we'll see. Here we are at Marblehead. This entire, landmass here is Marblehead, and this island here, oh, and it's connected by a beach. That's cool. It's actually connected by, I'm assuming, a man-made, Levi, whatever the fuck it's called. Levi. Wow, there's actually a There's actually a school down there, sorry, with a football stadium and a baseball stadium. That's kind of nice. All right, now we're headed to Cambridge. Let's see here. Cambridge. From Marblehead, skirt the coast, and then continue inland, passing into the northernmost part of Northeast Megapolis. Fly to the west of Boston proper to Cambridge. Which doesn't really say what that is. Cambridge. I just realized I hope my audio of my TV isn't too loud, because it's probably cutting into the audio of the game. Oh, wait, here's my head. Here's my fucking headphones. There we go. My remote, that is. Alright, so get rid of this. We'll look outside. I don't want to start descending yet, just in case we go into the Boston skyline here. Did we just fly right over the airport? No, never mind. What is this? What is this? Now this is interesting. Huh. It's like a highway, but there's a bunch of parking along the side of it. What does this lead out to? That's fancy. I mean, that's funky is what I really meant to say. There's Logan International right there, which we're landing at later. Alright, let me find information about Cambridge in Massachusetts. Not Cambridge in Ontario. I just want Cambridge, Massachusetts, not the university. Cambridge, Massachusetts is a city in Middlesex County, Massachusetts, which is the same county I live in Ontario. It is a suburb of the greater Boston metropolitan area, which does not surprise me. It's located directly across the Charles River from Boston. So, okay, so that's easy to understand. So that side of the far side of the river is Boston. The close side of the river is Cambridge. What the fuck was that noise? Cool. And it's, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I recognize Cambridge. Cambridge is actually where Harvard University is, and the Massachusetts Institute of Technology as well. I wonder where it is. Let me scan the area. I don't know what Harvard looks like, but it'd be interesting if we could see it from here. Yeah, I have no idea what it looks like. You can see some oil refinery areas here. Yeah, it's very industrial, that's for sure. There's the airport, which is technically in Cambridge. That's interesting to know. Holy shit! That scared me. There's a jumbo jet just flying right past us. Just ignore that. We don't have any communication with ATC on these bush trips for some reason. Well, I think I know why. It's because the ATC is broken, so why would they ever put you up to it? Alright, so we're going to start descending soon-ish. I just want to make sure I'm not going to fly into any buildings when we make this turn. Then I'll make the descent and fly over the airport to see which direction we're supposed to land at. Alright, so after we hit Cambridge, this is the city of Boston, home to the Boston Bruins, my least favorite team in the world. But it is a beautiful city. One of those American cities, too, that have a fucking freeway going right through the center, kind of splitting it up. I'll never understand that, but hey, I didn't design any freeways. All right, we're going to turn towards Boston at 127 degrees here and try to zoom in on the airport there. Yeah, I do not see Harvard. I see Target. Yo, that's a good advertisement for Target. Holy shit. Free advertising in Flight Simulator. That's cool. Shit. That's fucking sick. Yo. They got free advertising. This is super detailed. Holy shit. I'm really enjoying this already more than I thought. Wow. Just look how detailed the downtown area of Boston looks. It looks beautiful. That looks really cool. You can see the old town with all the old buildings. This, I forget what this park's called, but I've explored through it on Street View before. I don't know where the Bruins play. Do they play downtown? I'd love to see that. Oh, that looks like a hockey arena. Legitimately looks... That is a hockey arena. I think that's where the Bruins... If I were to guess, that's a hockey arena, but... Hey, what do I know? I only watch hockey. Alright, we're going to ascend a little bit now. We're going to lower our altitude. Turn on our landing light and taxi lights so we're visible here. And then we're going to do that and turn on heading mode so my plane doesn't start turning to the right and go on to the next leg here. At least we have a lot of runways to choose from. I just don't know where we're supposed to land. Let's just ignore the fact that there's a plane in the water. Yep, that plane literally just lifted off out of the water. Alright, that's a new one. The fuck? He left it out of the water, bro. You need to get your shit together. Alright, now that we're flying over the airport, I can't tell which way we're supposed to land at all, because I don't see the windsock. I'll pause here for a second. This is very, very much a pain in the ass. With such a massive airport, it's so hard to tell where to look for a windsock. There's so much red and yellow everywhere. Is there even a windsock anywhere? Windcock? I don't understand. Let me scan some more and maybe we can find something here. Alright. Maybe we'll find your mama. Oh, there we are. Windsock's going that way. So we want to line up and run. We want to line up and land at this runway. 13, I think, or 15. Alright. We'll take off the autopilot then and go in for a landing here. Let me zoom in the map a little more so I can get a better view of the airport. There we go. We'll try to make ourselves parallel for a bit of a downwind here. Bit of a downwind landing. Now, this shouldn't be too hard of a landing to make, considering how big the fucking runway is. It's unreal how big it is. For such a tiny plane, this should be very easy for me. Should being the key word, obviously. I still have skill issues. Ooh, like dive bombing the plane a little bit just then. So we're gonna do a bit of a right turn here. So we can get ourselves lined up at the runway properly. We'll do this. Have a pretty steep turn to make this, but that's fine. Cruise. Deploying the landing gear. We're probably a little too high right now. But like I said, we have so much runway to work with. Being too high isn't that big of a deal. I believe, yeah, landing speed's at 90 on this plane. Actually, we're not too high now. We're doing all right. I'm much better at landing this plane than the Bonanza. Doesn't mean I'm a pro or anything, but let's make sure my landing gear's up. Yep. Always double check that, because I've made that mistake too many times. Oh, see, like now I'm a little too low. Yeah, I need to increase speed slightly so I can not come up short. And now I can cut the speed, basically. I am going to come up short a little, which is not ideal, but that's fine. It's good to know for next time. Whoa, look at these twin planes lifting off. What the fuck? They're never lifting off from the airport out here. They just lift off wherever the hell they feel like. God damn. Y'all need to chill. Okay, I'm gonna turn over here onto this little spot, so we could actually use the spot to turn around. I know it's not exactly the most professional way of doing it, but it says I'm a professional anyways. There we go.